Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So here's another deck profile for you guys today. This time it's on my Blue-Eyes deck. So as y'all know, Legendary Duelist Season 2 just came out, and we actually got a new support card for Blue-Eyes. And honestly, I was so excited for this card because the fact that it can search out Polymerization and any level 8 dragon, I just had to pitch in and just kind of like rebuild my Blue-Eyes deck entirely to kind of follow up on a strategy that I've been wanting to go back to for a while. So my new and improved Blue-Eyes deck actually follows pretty much all the summoning methods: Link, Xyz, Synchro, Fusion. Well, no Ritual, of course, because, I didn't have the room to make a Ritual variant. So I'm kind of going like, I'm still following the Guard Dragon route, but I'm still utilizing Blue-Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon, I should say, to its full potential, considering that this card can actually pop 3 cards. But anyway, enough chat. Let's go and get started. So my main deck is 40 cards, starting off with 3 copies of Blue-Eyes White Dragon. So this card's pretty important because of the fact that, one, it's a normal monster, and also that it's searchable. So like Blue-Eyes White Dragon just like keeps coming into your hand one way or the other, and the fact that you can easily get this into your graveyard, it's pretty nice. Next, 2 copies of Alternative Dragon, simply because, you just revealed the original to special summon this. You only want 2 because, simply because 3 is a brick, and if you open up with too many of them at once, and you don't have a regular Blue-Eyes White Dragon in hand, it becomes a dead card, so it's better just to go with 2. Plus, this card is also searchable too, so yeah. I'm still running 1 copy of Dragon Spirit White. Some people who are running Blue-Eyes right now are cutting this. I still think 1 is fine because the fact that it gets rid of back row, especially the fact that it banishes it too, and you can tag out into the original Blue-Eyes. Yeah, Dragon Spirit of White is still a good card to have at least 1. Next, the new Blue-Eyes Abyss Dragon. So Blue-Eyes Abyss Dragon is really cool. If this card is special summoned, you can add 1 ritual spell or polymerization from your deck to your hand. Keep in mind it adds any 1 ritual spell. So that means like Chaos Form, Advanced Ritual Art, if you want to go with the ritual route, of course. But polymerization is going to be the one we're going to be playing for this build, so yeah. But also what's cool about this is that during the end phase, you can add 1 level 8 or higher dragon monster from your deck to your hand. And of course, you can only use each of these effects so long as there's a Blue-Eyes White Dragon on the field or in your graveyard. So Blue-Eyes Abyss Dragon is actually pretty excellent, and its stats are pretty good too. So you can easily bring this out with White Stone of Ancients, so no need to worry. Moving on, 3 copies of Sage with Eyes of Blue. This gives you access to all your level 1 light attribute tuners, specifically your stones, which comes to our next cards. 2 copies of White Stone of Ancients, which of course on the end phase you can special summon a Blue-Eyes from your deck. And keep in mind that part is not once per turn. What is once per turn is its banishment effect to recycle 1 of your Blue-Eyes back to your hand. Next, 2 copies of White Stone of Legend. This card is very broken, especially if you're going to be playing the Guard Dragon package, because this card is not once per turn and it's a mandatory effect, so you always get access to your Blue-Eyes White Dragon. And this card also has some really nice synergy with Melody of the Awakening Dragon, because if you can discard this card for cost, even if your opponent ashes the Melody, you'll still be guaranteed a Blue-Eyes White Dragon to your hand. So yeah, White Stone of Legend is super busted. And now for the one-ofs, which, here, let's move all this to the side. For the one-ofs, I'm running 1 copy of Chaos Dragon Legionnaire, simply because you can either use its effect to special summon a monster from your graveyard in defense mode, so long as you banish all lights. If you banish light and dark monsters, you get to pop 2 cards. And if you can manage to banish 3 dark monsters, you can actually rip a card out of your opponent's hand. And keep in mind, all 3 of these effects are very possible to accomplish depending on how well you want to go about it, so just keep that in mind. Next, 1 copy of Chaos Emperor, the Dragon of Armageddon. So I decided to facilitate this card now simply because both of its effects are amazing. So Pendulum effect, you can pay 1,000 life points and then target 1 of your banished dragon monsters, destroy this card, and if you do, add the monster to your hand. So what's also really cool is that unlike other Pendulum cards, Chaos Emperor's effect is that if this card leaves the field, you can actually place this card back to the bottom of the deck. So it never actually goes face up on your extra deck zone. On the top of your extra deck, I should say. Because it has a similar effect, kind of like Black Fang Magician. If it destroys itself on the pendulum zone, its monster effect will still trigger off, where if it's destroyed, you get to special summon a Dark Spellcaster or something like that. Well, Chaos Emperor kind of follows that similar regard. The game registers that it was destroyed or just left the field. So yeah, so Chaos Emperor will not actually go to your extra deck. It will actually go to the bottom of your deck. So pretty good. Next, 1 Darkness Metal Dragon. Kind of wish this had a holo printing the alternate art, but it is what it is. So Aaron already knows what this does, so no explanation there. And of course, one copy of Starly Safer, simply because it pretty much searches out anything you want so long as you discard the dragon monsters that require it. And yeah, I was thinking of running Brotar, but I just didn't really have the room for him. And plus, you kind of have to hard draw into him anyway to really utilize it. I mean, yeah, Starly, you could argue, searches it, but yeah, you don't really need it right now. For hand traps, I'm only running 3 copies of Ash Blossom. No Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is not too effective right now, simply because we're in a control format, and Effect Veiler is only effective during your opponent's turn anyway, so yeah. Ash Blossom, I think, is just fine, just for right now. I mean, I'm sure Effect Veiler will be more relevant later on. It's just not doing much right now. So, and plus with Sage with Eyes of Blue, I'd rather just see my stones a lot more than my Effect Veiler anyway. So yeah. For spells, 3 copies of Melody of the Awakening Dragon. So again, this searches out all your Blue Eyes, your alternative, even Chaos Dragon Livianeer and Chaos Emperor. 3 trade-in. 3 Return of the Dragon Lords. Oh, and if you guys were wondering, before I continue on, if you notice I did not run, I took off Nebula Dragon completely, simply because Nebula Dragon, though it's a great card, it does lock you into light and or dark dragon monsters, and that kind of conflicts with my strategy, so that's why I'm not running Nebula Dragon or Galactic Spiral Dragon right now. So anyway, I just felt like that was kind of correct anyway. Moving on, more revival spells, World Legacy Guard Dragon. I actually see this card very frequently, and it actually comes in clutch a lot, so yeah, World Legacy Guard Dragon, an amazing card. 2 copies of Dragon's Mirror, since, you know, I am running some fusion monsters. And, of course, 1 Polymerization, since Abyss Dragon searches it. For the rest of my one-ofs, 1 Dragon Shrine and 1 Foolish Burial. Since Dragon Shrine is a hard once per turn, I figured if I happen to open up with this and a Foolish Burial, that's a bonus right there. Next, 1 for 1. And last but not least, 1 copy of Monster Reborn. I mean, the more revival, the better. And that's generally what this deck relies on. It's like you want to do as much revival as possible, basically. All right. Now for the extra deck. As I mentioned, there were some drastic changes, not just in the main deck, but also in the extra deck. So starting off with my fusions, Blue Eyes Alternative Ultimate Dragon. So same materials as all the other Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragons, just requires 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. But if you use one of the materials whose original name is Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon, you can target up to 3 cards your opponent controls and destroy them. So that's actually pretty dang good. And also, this card cannot attack the turn it activates the effect, but that's fine. What's also cool is that this card cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So yeah, and of course, keep in mind the part where it pops cards, you can do this once per turn, so that means like it doesn't just do it for the turn you summon it. You can do this once per turn during your own turn, of course. If it was quick effect, that'd be pretty busted, not gonna lie. But yeah, again, as long as you use alternative White Dragon as fusion material, you can pop up to 3 cards per turn. So yeah, that's pretty nuts. Next, 1 copy of Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. As long as you control no other monsters, if I'm not mistaken, this card can make 2 additional attacks so long as you send a Blue Eyes fusion monster from your extra deck to the grave. Sometimes you might want to go into this instead if you're just going for the OTK, but it really depends on the situation. 1 Twin Burst, can't be destroyed in battle, and can make 2 attacks. And if it fails to destroy a monster in battle, it banishes it. So, can't argue with that. And if you can bait out like the Dragoon Negate, this card can essentially out-Dragoon for you. So, yeah. For Synchros, I'm only running 2 of them. 1 Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, no explanation here. And 1 Azure Eyes for protection. Also, no much more than that, really. And it's also a revival piece, so yeah, Azure Eyes, pretty good. For links, the link package is 1 Needle Fiber, or Halky Fibers, whichever name you prefer. 1 Hieratic Seal. 1 Link Karibo, since it still synergizes pretty well the fact that you run a bunch of level 1 monsters. 1 LP, 1 Pisty, and last but not least, 1 Surya Skuldred. How LP is still legal, I'm not sure, but it still is, and yeah, it puts in work, so can't argue with it. Now for the Xyz monsters, now this is where it gets pretty cool. I actually changed up my Xyz lineup. I'm not relying on Numerons right now. I'm actually running, or Dragoon, I should say. But I am running still 1 copy of Hope Harbinger, negate spells, and the fact that you can redirect attacks to it. That's pretty nuts. 1 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. This is primarily for negation, and Photon Lord can actually help you out a bit. So, like, and the fact that it's got a pretty huge body, like, it's really hard to run over. But yeah, Photon Lord is actually pretty good. Some people don't want to run it, but I think it's good because, again, you want to put up a board of negations mainly. So, yeah. Now, of course, if it had Galaxy S Photon Dragon as material, it destroys the card. But since, you know, you're not going to have that, all it's just going to do is negate the effects. So, yeah. Now, another card that actually does help you out, Dragoon, is one copy of Dingirsu. Now, if you can bait out negates and all that stuff, you'll be fine. In general, I don't believe Dragoon can actually chain to Dingirsu's effect, where you can, once it's special summon, you send a card. Because if I'm not mistaken, the rulings that Dingirsu's effect, both the effect to send and the effect to protect itself, don't actually start chains. They just sort of happened. So, like, maybe someone in the comments can verify that for me or not. But in general, like, again, if you can bait out the negate from Dragoon, and this should basically help you out it anyway, since, you know, the effect doesn't target and it does not destroy. So, yeah, sending a card, that's pretty busted. And, of course, I'm still running the AA Zeus. So, like, after I battle either one of these, I can just go into AA Zeus, use this effect to just essentially wipe the board. So, yeah, AA Zeus, pretty nuts. All right, side deck. Side deck is a little different than before, but overall it's self-explanatory. 3 Droll and Lockbird. This is strong against the Drytron matchup. 3 Artifact Lancia to deal with Eldritch, Dinosaur, whatever you need to. 2 copies of Twin Twister, and of course Harpy's Feather Duster. And another one called by the Grave. Still wish this card was back up to at least 2, but it is what it is. 3D Barrier, also good against Drytron, against Zodiac, you know, whatever you need. And last but not least, 2 copies of Evenly Matched. Since, you know, control format, you need to be able to clear out the back row. So, yeah. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys again next time.